Hello, welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. I'm Eric Svilgoy, editor, CropLife, CropLife Iron, here again with my partner in crime down in El Paso, Laura Sawinski. Laura, how you doing?
Yes, holding up the crime element here, doing my best.
Well, I didn't mean literally, but
Okay.
okay.
Oh,
So
good.
everything going well for you this week, I hope?
Yes, sir. Thank you. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, as I'm sure most people who are of a certain faith are getting ready. We're just past Good Friday as this video will be airing, and we're all getting ready for Easter Sunday, which will involve lots of Easter baskets and church going and ham and pierogies if you're at my house, because that's the traditional meal, along with deviled eggs, of course, which are always fun.
Yeah, and you forgot Easter bonnets. That
Oh, okay.
the
Well,
one thing
yeah.
you
Well,
missed. But yes.
considering the household I'm in is all male, Easter bonnets will not be in evidence. Sorry to say.
Okay.
And if I tried to put one on my dog Lucky, she would immediately rip it off. She hates that kind of stuff. So.
Eric.
All right. Well, hey, speaking of crime,
Yeah,
sort of a sloppy
here we go.
transition, but as of course most people in the industry are aware, there have been a lot of lawsuits going back and forth regarding products, crop protection products in particular, with a lot of damage suits going on.
Mhm.
But actually found out this week that our friends in the Hawkeye state of Iowa have now approved some legislation that actually would provide some relief, if you will, for some of the companies that are having to deal with what you would call, I guess, nuisance lawsuits.
Mm.
The Iowa Senate Appropriations Committee has approved a bill, Senate Study Bill 3188, that would protect pesticide manufacturers in lawsuits over adverse health impacts of those products when the EPA labeling requirements are being met.
Mhm.
Um, Now, the Iowa Senator Jeff Edler had this to say about this pending legislation. He said, "We're trying to prevent what I'm going to call frivolous lawsuits and a loophole that has been used to sue with no cause."
Mhm.
So, and again, this bill did pass through the Appropriations Committee, and it now goes to the full Iowa Senate for consideration. So, again, Laura, I know the old saying goes, it says, "As Maine goes, so goes the country." But
Mhm.
maybe in this instance, it would be as Iowa goes, maybe goes the country. But
Yeah.
one thing to add about this only applies to basically this liability protection would not apply to Chinese state-owned companies, which
Oh, okay.
means our friends at Syngenta would not be
Mhm.
covered by it. But
Mhm.
anybody else, our friends at Bayer, BASF, FMC, Corteva, they would be. So
Okay.
again, we'll have to see what happens with this bill as it moves forward through the Iowa Senate.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well, on my side, obviously the big news this week regarding the bridge and impact of the Francis Scott Key Bridge and the impact on the Port of Baltimore. What I've kind of been looking at is first, when will the shipping channel be cleared and open to accommodate vessel traffic? No word yet. The port, Coast Guard, everyone kind of too soon to tell. Um, so, likewise, not only I obviously everyone's going to work to get the shipping channel cleared, but then the impact on road and rail in and
Mhm.
out of the port, particularly big port as we all know for farm machinery, equipment, imports, exports in particular. So right now, truck traffic, I mean, obviously everything has to be rerouted, um, uh, due to the bridge. Thus far, my sense is that there's congestion, but it's not as bad as things aren't at a standstill. So checked in with the Journal of Commerce to see what they're reporting. So, according to the JOC, alternative routings for vessels looking to drop off or remove cargo from the region include Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, and the port of Norfolk. So these three ports are the closest in proximity to the port of Baltimore, anywhere from 120 miles to 260 miles from the port via truck. Um, but again, due to the equipment, I mean, there's a lot of rail that's involved as well. So we'll see. But anyway, nothing yet as far as the forecast as to when the shipping channel will be cleared. So have to keep our eyes on that. The other thing, that I ran across this week, I thought it was it really caught my attention. I actually wanted to read some excerpts from it. Um, the author, Abram Lustgarten, author of a book on the move, The Overheating Earth and the Uprooting of America. But he kind of summarized a piece in the Atlantic, which was published on March 23rd. So the piece in the Atlantic is Climate Change Could Save the Rust Belt. Obviously, that caught my attention. Being born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, and of course, home to Meister Media as well. But check this out, Eric. This was really incredible. So, the studies, looking at where climate change kind of drawing the line, if you will, what parts of the world would be impacted most. And then, like most things, there's an upside, if you will. Okay, these particular crops will not flourish in this area any longer. However, this will happen. People will, So it was looking at industry as well as people. I mean, obviously, the United States is on the cusp of this dividing line, if you will, between kind of good and bad, between economic loss and fortune. Its southern regions more imperiled, its northern latitudes much more positioned to capitalize on climate change. So models from the Rhodium Group is an environmental and economic research firm, forecasts that even as commercial crop yields free fall across the Great Plains, Texas, and the South, those closer to the Canadian border will steadily increase. So by as soon as 2040, yields in North Dakota could jump by 5 to 12%. In Minnesota and Wisconsin and northern New York, the rise could be closer to 12%. By the end of the century, should climate change be severe, those increases could jump by 24 to 30%. And Rhodium has a map where they kind of show, various degrees. So the hotspot, where agricultural improvements will far outpace anywhere else in the country, is centered like a bullseye right over the Great Lakes. So, indeed, big commercial agriculture companies and other land investors may already be anticipating this. Over the past several years, land values have skyrocketed across the upper Midwest as buyers, including Bill Gates, have snatched up thousands of acres of farmland. To the south, they see the Ogallala Aquifer being depleted, and in California, regulatory mandates potentially reducing water consumption in the Central Valley by 40 to 50%, while in northern Michigan, there is more water than anyone knows what to do with. Pretty wild, though, when you consider, I mean, those yield numbers, the forecast is pretty crazy. I mean, those are sizable numbers. There's no way to dispute that. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
and Laura, you're
fun
not you're not, of course, in my close circle of friends, but I know, at many get together with these folks over the last several years, I have pointed out that, hey, we live in the Midwest and we live by the Great Lakes and we have a lot of water here.
yeah.
So, and I said, you could talk all you want about, the economic improvements in other parts of the country, but,
Mhm.
bottom line is people need water. And yeah, businesses like agriculture need water, and the Great Lakes has a lot. So yeah, I mean, I'm in total agreement that yes, watch by the end of the century that It may be that places like Cleveland and Buffalo and Detroit will become hotspots again for people to move to because, hey, you can actually get drinking water at a regular pace and put some on your lawn, and nobody's going to complain. So, but
Yeah.
we will have to see. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting report. You say that's from a book. You say?
It was a summary of a book, but the author is Abram Lustgarten,
Okay.
Abrahm Lustgarten. So his piece appeared in the Atlantic on March 23rd. So climate change could save the Rust Belt. That was the title of his piece. Super interesting stuff, though. I mean, we talk about what are the macro changes, like we always do. What's happening with China and recession? What's happening with
Mhm.
things that may disrupt the supply chain? And this is certainly one of, I think, a macro thing that we, need to pay closer attention to. But anyway, so hang on to your home in the Cleveland area.
Wasn't planning on going anywhere, Laura. No, no, and no disrespect meant for you that have, you're in El Paso, you're fine. But, one of these days when I do have your mailing address now, because I sent you a book the other day. So now
Right.
when you start running out of water, I'll start shipping you some Desante or, Aquafina, and you'll be fine. So I
Oh,
can I
good.
can probably
Thank you.
get it here. So
All right, good. Well, one last thing. I wanted to, we are deep in planning and putting together our Tech Hub Live program for this year, which, I hesitate to say bigger and better, but it really is truly going to be bigger and better. We're just having a blast with this thing. It's really coming together nicely. But I thought one thing was really, really cool. So we obviously did some our marketing team talks to attendees and exhibitors and all that, and really trying to understand, how people hear about the show. How does it grow? Where did they, how did they come about to register? And a whopping 29% registered for Tech Hub Live and came to the show because a colleague told them about it, or a colleague referred them to it. And
word of
um,
mouth, always good. Yes.
marketing, yeah, the marketing team was thrilled about that. I mean, above all, that was the most, 29% of all the other ways, be it email or however, we do the outreach. But that really meant a lot. So anyway, techhublive.com. This year's dates are July 29th through the 31st. We'll be back in Des Moines. The 29th, we'll have our Women in Ag Tech program. And then that evening, Monday the 29th, kick off with the welcome party for Tech Hub Live. Full programming on Tuesday the 30th and half day on the 31st. But yeah, no, it's going to be great. So
It's nice to know word of mouth does work because I know again, like you might like myself, of course, you travel a lot, and I know when I go to places where there may not be some commonly known places to eat, restaurants or places to visit, always ask the locals, and whatever they recommend, my word of mouth is usually the best place to go. So
absolutely.
nice to
Yeah,
know that works for Tech Hub Live as well. So.
sure does. So that's cool.
All
Thanks.
right. Well, Miss Laura, then we'll end on our usual note. Time for your favorite segment of the show. Time for Fun with Numbers.
Yay. I got last week's correct, right? I
You
think I
did.
remember
You
that.
did. Yeah. No. 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 You did fine last week. I'm going to cross my fingers for you for this week too.
Okay.
So your number this week is a percentage,
Okay.
17%.
Okay.
Okay. So, is 17%, Miss Laura, is that A, the annual compound growth rate for robotics in agriculture by the end of this decade? Is it B, the increase in resistant weeds species expected to appear in crop fields during 2024? Is it C, the increase in insect pressures expected in fields in 2024 due to a milder winter? Or is it D, the percentage increase in milk chocolate to gummies slash peeps in my son's 2024 Easter basket? And like most kids, as he's gotten
Um,
older, he's gotten away from the colorful things, the peeps, the Skittles, the gummies, and he
Yeah.
loves more of the chocolate. So this year's basket, he only has one little gummy thing in there. Everything else is chocolate based. So I think he'll be happy.
Oh, that's great. Oh, wow. I'm going to go with A, uh, compound annual. Really, I got it right. Yes.
You got it
I
right.
love
Yes,
that.
this was a report I ran across from our friends at Global Data, which is a data and analytics company. They did a study where they were looking at robotics in agriculture, and they were saying that in 2022, robotics in agriculture was a $63 billion market, but they're expecting a compound annual growth rate of 17% between now and 2030. And by
Yeah.
the end of this decade, that market will be worth $218 billion. That's the forecast. And that includes such things as field robots, drones, and of
Mhm.
course, artificial intelligence systems.
Mhm.
So, and again, you mentioned Tech Hub Live. That'd be
Yeah.
a great place to get an update on everything going on in those particular markets. But yes, you are correct. 17% annual compound growth rate between now and 2030. So,
That's awesome. Yeah. In fact, I feel like, that felt right in terms of what that percentage might be for CAGR because, yeah, we do have autonomous vehicles as well as smart equipment, um, you know, prominently covered with Tech Hub Live this year as it should be. So that's awesome. That's incredible.
yep. So again, you luckily promoted the event
Yay.
before I got to the answer. But yes, congratulations. You're on a hot streak now,
Yeah.
and we'll see if we can keep it going next week. So.
Yeah, if two constitutes a hot streak, yeah, I'll take it.
Well, I was going to say you take what you got, right?
Exactly, exactly.
All right. Well, on behalf of myself and everyone in the Crop Life Media Group, we hope you out there, viewers, have a safe and happy Easter, and we will see you again next week. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.